Man, I do love that saxophone. Hey, we are live tonight. We'll be talking to Ben Alexander, owner of Maine Meadworks. I got to put my glasses on, guys. Maine Meadworks in Meadery in Portland, Maine. I'm just starting out with a bang here. Update on the pumpkin pie project, and hey, get your phone ready. Oscar joins us live tonight on Ask Oscar. All that and more tonight. I got mead live, so go get your glass of mead and your phone and join us. We'll be right back. And we are back live here tonight on a Tuesday night. A couple of shout-outs, guys. I want to get out of the way here first. I want to say howdy to Jimmy North out there in Minnesota. He's a good friend of mine. He's been listening in the last couple of shows, and I've been trying to convince he and his dad to start getting into making mead. So the more I keep talking to them, I'm sure that they're bound to start. Also want to throw a shout-out to Megan and Keith at moreflavor.com. Which encompasses more beer, more wine, and more coffee. And I'll tell you, after a big fiasco with trying to get a package delivered with USPS and FedEx, Megan and Keith were both extremely helpful and really helped me out. So big shout out to them. And, for all your mead making and wine making and beer making equipment and supplies, you got to check these guys out at moreflavor.com. What are we drinking tonight?
I've got some Hidden Legend Wild Choke Cherry mead. It's sort of tart and sweet at the same time. And I have to say it's really a great mead. I loved it when I opened the bottle. But I also have to say, if you get this, don't let it sit in the fridge too long. I did, and it's developed a slight off flavor from me letting it sit in the fridge. The mead itself is fantastic when you first open it, but this is one of those drink it when, once you open it, go ahead and drink it up because you don't want to miss out.
Cool. And
I got my Chateau Chevette Raspberry Ancient Mead. That's one that I started in 2010, bottled a year later, and I'm really enjoying now. And I think it's actually a little bit better for having oxidized in the bottle because I left a half bottle of it sitting around.
Sometimes it helps. I've had cherry meads go that route, and it's like, wow, this is really good.
I like sherry, so when it oxidizes just a bit, I kind of like that flavor.
Yeah, well, it also depends on the mead too. But yeah, I'm with you there. I love sherries, so a little bit of oxidation in the right spots can really make me happy.
Yep.
All right, and I am drinking the last of the Pepino from Melovino Meadery. This is the one that Sergio Motello was kind enough to send. I believe Vicky and I don't think AJ got any. But
because I'm in Canada.
He can't ship to Canada. You need to get a passport. and find, get yourself a drop over in, like Detroit or something.
Actually, I've got friends who've got a mailbox at the UPS store in just across the border, so I could.
There you go.
In a place never to be named.
Ogdensburg.
Pepino is that cucumber.
That's right. I liked that.
Yeah, it's a good summer mead. One of those refreshing, after a hot day in the yard or whatever, sitting on the back porch under the awning and enjoying a nice ice cold glass of Pepino from Melovino Meadery, and very refreshing. So, but welcome to Got Mead. I finally got the right glasses on. Got Mead live here tonight. I'm here with AJ and Vicky in the house, and we got a full night for you tonight. The website up and running finally. Paint is still wet, but it's looking pretty good. And
I still got extra decorating to do. There's a bit more stuff that needs to happen, but that's all right.
You always got to take care of the trim, second coat.
Exactly. All y'all out there, if you've got recipes that you'd like to immortalize on Got Mead, we have a recipe program. So I'll try to get it up on the menu tonight or tomorrow morning, and you can input your recipes. It's a new program, so bear with me. We're still building out the interface, but it works really good. It's searchable, it's downloadable, so you can save cards and print it out. And it's, you go in there and add to it, if you're putting all of your your process in there, as you build the mead. So
isn't running a website kind of like owning a house anyway? It's always
there's always something broken. Yeah. Sometimes there's 5 or 6 things broken, and then you get those phone calls where they say the house is on fire. That happens a fair amount. I've had it's been hacked a dozen times over the last
or when you fix
years.
one thing and it breaks 3 others.
Yeah, that's always fun.
All right, and of course the Facebook Got Mead, Twitter at Got Mead Now. Ask Oscar. Just check the link on the radio station link up there on gotmead.com. You'll find the form up there to submit your questions. And, of course, the call-in number, 818-921-4680. Put us on your speed dial. You can also listen live on the gotmead.com website. Just click that live radio station link thing up there on the gotmead.com webpage. You'll find it.
Doohickey. It's a technical term.
Absolutely.
And if you're mobile, you can listen to us at tunein.com. Just search Got Mead Live, and it will pop right on up. You can take us with you. Download the app for both iOS and Android devices from tunein.com. Replays are always available on gotmead.com, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, this place, that place, just everywhere. Search Got Mead Live, and I'm sure something will come up.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah. But we
will assimilate you.
Yeah. We are headed for a fun night here tonight, so sit tight. We'll be back right after these.
Mead, located in the heart of North Carolina, specializes in wine-style meads of varying sweetness level. With a menu that usually includes 16 different flavors and featuring local North Carolina honey, there's always something new to try. Whether you like a drier mead that mimics a red or white wine, or something sweeter with fruit or herbs, Starlight Mead has got you covered. Come in for a tasting. Starlight Mead Artisan Winery and Tasting Room is located at 480 Hillsborough Street, Suite 1000, Pittsboro, North Carolina, at Chatham Mills. This historic Label Mill complex is located just north of downtown Pittsboro on 15501, 2 miles south of Highway 64 bypass, or order a bottle from vinoshipper.com. Either way, Starlight Mead hopes to surprise and delight you. HomebrewTalk.com, your absolute everything resource for brewing beer at home. Their forum covers recipes, brewing equipment, and help from member brewers. If you picked up your equipment today, you can start brewing tonight with everything you need to know at HomebrewTalk.com. Sign up today for as little as $4 a month and become a supporting member.
Known for the most amazing and creative alcoholic beverages made from honey, Bee Nectar is a worldwide sensation. Bee Nectar gives their fans a variety of options, from their famous Zombie Killer, a hard cider made with honey and cherries to kill all the golfers, a lightly carbonated draft mead made with black tea and lemon juice. Bee Nectar makes meads, ciders, and beers that extend beyond the traditional. They let their imaginations guide them. Learn more at BeeNectar.com. That's BeeNectar with a K.com. And we are back live here on Got Mead, live here on a Tuesday night. Since 2008, Maine Meadworks has been handcrafting delicious, dry-style, food-friendly meads using high-quality honey, local Maine ingredients, and a unique continuous fermentation process. Maine Meadworks is located in downtown Portland, Maine, and is open for tastings and tours year-round, 7 days a week. For hours, distribution, and shipping information, please visit MaineMeadworks.com. That's MaineMeadworks.com. And Vicki, our guest tonight is none other than Ben Alexander from Maine Meadworks.
Indeed.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having me on the show.
It's good to have you here, Ben. So what's been going on with you guys lately? It's been kind of quiet since you didn't come to the Major Cup last year. You knew I was going to get you. So, but yeah, what's been going on with the meadery?
Well, we're quiet, but at the same time, we're really focusing on expanding our distribution and getting mead into people's hands, into people's mouths. More importantly, and so over the last 3 years or so, we focused on kind of expanding our distribution. We're available in I had to count to make sure, but I believe it's 12 states. And Washington, D.C.
Nice.
Now. And, the big, challenge and work cut out for us is to really focus on marketing and sales in those areas. But we've been having a great time up here in Portland. And, I'd love to actually, host you sometime, Vicki, the next time you come to Portland to give you a tour. So.
Yeah, I get up to, I've got people in family up in Beverly, north of Boston. So not terribly far from you guys. And occasionally I do make forays into Maine. So, we get my tree fix,
I'll keep an eye out for you on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I'm headed up that way, because there's like I basically have to take a couple of days. There's 3 or 4 people that if I don't visit them, I'll get in all sorts of trouble. So Moonlight's up that way too, and the Fermentary, and there's a bunch of people up in that uber northeast there that I have to go see. But I'd love to see the setup. So you still working with Garth these days?
Yeah, absolutely. We are, I mean, I speak to him. He really helped, or got Maine Meadworks off the ground, so to speak, back in 2007. Mm-hmm. This was, kind of a brainchild of, several of us, including him and myself, in terms of taking, the process that he developed in university and trying to, sort of duplicate what he's been doing down in South Africa over here in Portland. So that's how we got started. And, he continues to make mead down there, and he's doing it in a slightly different format, but is from the sounds of it, selling very successfully here in the U.S.
Yeah, he's distributed here. Last I checked, although it doesn't make it here to the hinterlands of North Carolina. Yeah,
it's taken on some different formats, which I'm finding fairly common in our business. But it sounds to me, and I don't want to speak entirely for him, but that he's moving a little bit away from doing bottles, and he's working with Be United, which is the local beer importer, mm-hmm. and he's sending over bulk mead, and they're aging it at their facility, and it's
interesting.
It's still a really high. It's an amazing product. I'm actually drinking a dry mead now that he made, because I saw on the previous participants in the show that it seemed to be mandatory to be drinking a glass of mead while you were doing the show.
Yes, indeed it is. So we'll have to note this on the page, what Ben was drinking here. Let's get to the page.
McKillica dry mead. We are still working together, and we're still really happy with the the process that he originally developed down there in South Africa, and we've taken it and kind of tweaked it a little bit to make it work for us. And it's so far as I can tell, we're producing a product that people like to buy, and I think that's the important thing. I think that's the primary goal.
That's cool. Yeah, for those of you that are wondering what the hell Ben and I are talking about, Garth Cambray has a PhD in, gotta love this, fermentation. He did his PhD paper, which is linked on the page for this show, on this unique and up till that point, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong here, not been tried style of fermentation that led to kind of a breakthrough in getting meads to market in a much more expeditious fashion and still tasting really good.
Yeah, there's certainly advantages to it. Interestingly, when I was doing my research on making mead, I didn't have a whole lot of background on traditional fermentation, so I kind of came at it with unbiased eyes. But it certainly appeared at the time to be a viable way of fermenting honey. And I know that beer producers over the last 30 or 40 years have tried to get into the world of continuous fermentation, if you will, and I think they've been largely unsuccessful. And so it's really interesting that Garth decided to take this method and apply it to producing fermenting honey, and it worked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, to sort of back up, it's actually really kind of an ancient method. He took the Xhosa people of South Africa hundreds and thousands of years ago didn't have the ability to culture their own yeast. So they would fill up a clay pot on the back porch, and they'd cut up a root and they'd put it in the clay pot. And the root had wild yeast on it. And so they would add honey and water to that, and they'd leave it for a week or two, and then they'd come back, 2 weeks later, and they'd have mead, and they'd pour the mead off, and then they'd replace it with more honey and water. So it actually is a process that's adapted an ancient kind of tradition or practice, if you will, using a little bit of modern science. But yeah, it's been real fun using that, and it's been great.
I kind of got the impression, and we need to get back to talking about Maine Meadworks here, but just the last little bit on Garth's thing, that all right, how do you say it again? In my head, I know what I say. I say Achillica, yeah. I always get it wrong, so I'm afraid to say it half the time. But I get the impression that this was a little bit like Tej in that it's a tradition as opposed to, any just a style name or anything like that, that it's something that has been around for a while. Because, Tej goes back untold numbers of years. So that was the impression I got when he was telling me about it the last time I spoke to him, which sadly was many years ago. We're going to try to remedy that here, get him on the show, I hope.
Absolutely. Sure.
Yeah, well, I may enlist you to help prod him into coming out of the shadows. And
it's 3 a.m. over there, so
I know that's what I'm. We'll have to.
Happy to help facilitate that.
Yeah.
But,
well, what we'll do is pre-record him, at a time that's not the middle of the night for him. So. But so you guys are using this at Maine Meadworks, or a variation thereof. So you were making mead before you had this, right?
We were making mead on a homebrew basis.
Okay.
So nothing commercial.
So you came out of the gate with this then in place.
We actually did, yeah. It took us about a year to get it to work for us. Actually, Garth was over here in Maine in 2007, and then it wasn't until a year later in November of 2008 that we got our first product out the door. And so it was a bit of a scary time, but again, looking back on it, very pleased with the products that we're making now.
Okay. So how many meads are you running right now?
We have, let's see, four year-round still meads and 2 sparkling session meads. So we have the Honeymaker brand, which is our 12.5% alcohol, kind of what I call the wine style mead. And then we've kind of followed some other folks in the industry, such as Brad at Bee Nectar, into looking at into producing some session meads that are down at like 7% alcohol, sparkling meads, and those are available, year round. So right now it's about 6, and then we do a lot of seasonal stuff as well.
Okay, so you got the regular seasonal stuff that you're doing, but it sounds like you're sticking with a strong core and not branching out real far. It's different for everybody. Some of them like going with the shorter run session meads, and that's fun too. But we're doing both, and it's actually been a big challenge for us in defining what our brand is. But my goal when I set out here was I wanted to try and make something for everybody, and in that respect we kind of cast a wide net. Okay, so I heard you say earlier, you said our wine style meads. So those are your gateway meads to get the wine drinkers to go for it?
Well, that was the original product. Our first product was Honeymaker Dry Mead. It was 12.5% alcohol. It was made with Maine wildflower honey, water, yeast, and aged with a little medium toast American oak. And that was it. And the idea was we wanted to show people that mead could be dry. It could drink like a dry white wine, and that it really preserves and accentuates the qualities and the flavors in the honey that you use. And so that was kind of our first foot forward. That was it. That was, I call it my flagship. I can't necessarily say it's our most popular mead, but I like to say that it kind of defines what we're all about.
Well, and that makes sense. I mean, one of the things that I'm always telling the folks on the forum and anybody who asks me, because Pete beat this into me years ago, was learn how to make a good traditional. If you got that, everything else is a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been able to pick up lots of we focus on local stuff for the Honeymaker, and so we do blueberry, lavender, apple, strawberry, elderberry, cranberry, all in season, and those have been a lot of fun as well.
I nailed a bottle of the lavender a while back. That was very nice. I liked it. It did not stick around long.
Well, I would have sent that to you all if I'd had a little more time before scheduling the call, and that way we could have drank it together. Yeah, that's. I'm still playing catch up after vacation, so that one was my fault. I try to get it out there earlier to let people know so they got time to do their commercial stuff, etc. But so I imagine I'll step back and let AJ and I imagine AJ and JD got some questions for you.
Yeah, actually, I studied continuous reactors in university during my engineering degree, and I was just wondering, with your methods, what production rate do you work at, and did you have problems upsizing it from presumably Dr. Cambry's bench scale, and can it be run small scale?
First of all, I'm going to say, a lot more about biotechnology reactors than I do, I'm sure. So thank you for your question. But right now we are running about 50 gallons a day through 2 different columns. And those are 10 feet tall and about 10-inch internal diameter. They've been scaled twice. Once was a bench scale, and then our first glass fermenters were about 4 inches internal diameter, and we had 8 of those running at one point. And so what we found is it is scalable, and it runs it's volumetric productivity. You could probably do the math a lot quicker than I could tell you, but we're running about 50 gallons per day through each of our tall stainless steel fermenters.
Okay, cool.
Is that helpful?
Yeah. I was just wondering, like, if you ran into any problems. Like you said, it took you a while to get some out the door. I was just wondering if you were running into problems with scaling it up, or was it other problems?
Actually, the problems in the very beginning were just kind of adapting it, and we learned a lot about sugar content and nutrient load, and we were running it, and I think probably in retrospect was not the wisest choice, was having two people without masters or PhDs in bioreactors. But we really kind of, it was a process of just kind of tweaking it and making it work in our environment with our raw materials. And the interesting thing was we did the whole thing over Skype. And so there was, getting the first series of production reactors up and running took, 6 to 9 months in our first year. But once we had, basically we used sort of a continuous yeast in these columns. And so the idea is to get the yeast in the columns in a state where they are going to be able to kind of maintain their efficiency and their fermentation efficiency, and that's what we were able to do. And it just took a lot of trial and error from a couple of people who didn't have a whole lot of background in that area.
So your yeast, then you don't need to add more, and it's not really breeding to a high extent, so there's not a lot of chance for it to be mutating into something that it didn't start out as?
That, it is certainly probably mutated from where it has started, but from what I can tell from the meads that we've had is that it's almost gotten more viable for that environment. I do think there's mutations over a period of 4 years, but no, we have not repitched our yeast in these columns since 7 years. And then, we've had one issue with contamination, and then we had to decommission that fermenter and get it back up and running. But, that being said, it has been, that's, the same yeast strain that we've been using all along. And our meads continue to have very similar character that they had when we started.
Interesting.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Talk about getting the most out of your yeast. Holy cow.
No repitch in 7 years. No kidding.
Yeah.
I want one.
Yeah. Well, but,
sourdough, right? It's kind of like a sourdough bread is how I explain it to people.
Yeah. But, in my head, your fermenting room looks like Dexter's lab.
That was what it was supposed to do. It's a little it's been worked over since then. But
yeah, but you need to put like Jacob's ladders, so they're the little going up the front. Maybe some neon lights here and there, and some blinky things like they use on Star Trek. Make it look really high tech.
Absolutely. We used to wear lab coats and stuff. But.
Oh, fun! But of course,
And then it's not. Then after a while, it sort of kind of shifts, and it becomes down to business. And I think our biggest, one of our biggest challenges has been marketing and sales, and trying to get people to understand what this category is all about and appreciate it.
So has your biggest challenge just been, getting past that what is mead, or what are you seeing as your biggest thing to overcome right now?
Right now, I think it generally boils down to consumers knowing what mead is, because we've been at this for 7 years and we still get people to our tasting room every day, which is a good portion of our business. Asking, saying that they've never either, they've had mead before, but it was somewhere in Ireland, or they've had, I feel like there's still just a lot of education to happen, and obviously we've done a really amazing job thus far. I think with the AMMA and what you guys have done with the Mazer Cup, and just the sheer number of meaderies that have opened.
Oh yeah,
we're starting to get there, but I would say that probably one of our biggest challenges has been, or continues to be how to get the mead out on the shelves and then into people's hands and back at their houses so that they can drink it and share it with friends.
What kind of reaction do you get from people who are drinking mead for the first time, Ben?
Well, they're surprised. I think they didn't know that it could be sort of enjoyable. I think people automatically think we're intrinsically wired to believe that it's going to be sweet because it's made with honey. So that's the first thing. Right. Whether they've had it or not, or heard about it, or tried it in Ireland, or had somebody else's mead. It just your own head says, okay, this is made from honey, and therefore it's going to be sweet. So we get a lot of that, and we also get a lot of people who can't quite figure out where to put it because they've had beer and they've had wine, and I always say it's a cross between the two. So it's trying to get people to recognize that there can be something that's in between beer and wine, and this is what it is. Yeah.
We'll take your calls tonight. We're talking to Ben Alexander from Maine Meadworks here tonight. And in case you missed it the first time, here it is. The number, 818-921-4680. Give us a call if you've got a question for Ben. One other question I got, Ben. I'm an old rancher farmer from Colorado from years back, and I really like the idea of sustainable agriculture. What do you guys? I see you're working with local family farms back there in Maine. Can you describe that in a little more detail? What are you doing with the local farmers?
Well, originally our brand was really built on 100% locally sourced. We've outgrown that in terms of the honey that we use, and so we've been getting honey from another company that really has enough honey to provide us on a regular basis that's consistent, because I think that's really important as well. But we've kind of evolved into really working with local farmers. My original thing about starting Maine Meadworks was I saw there were a handful of wineries in Maine that some were trying to grow grapes unsuccessfully. Others were making fruit wines, but not marketing them as successfully, and felt that there wasn't, a market for apple wine, pear wine, peach wine, the types of things that grow around here. So I thought that mead was a really good fit for this region or this state. And so we kind of set out to start making what we consider was agricultural wines that originated in the state of Maine. And and unfortunately since then, we've had to source honey from other places, but that was our big goal from the outset.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the whole source all your honey locally is great if you have, as you say, if you have enough local honey. But that's not always the case. So it depends on really where you are and what's being produced. And Mike Fall from Rabbit's Foot was saying on the AMMA Facebook group a few months back that we're actually probably in the next few years going to get to the point where the meaderies are using up all the available honey. Then where do we get it? I don't know.
Well, maybe Ontario's got a point in not letting you open a meadery unless you're owning and operating at least 100 hives.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a great idea. But yeah, that
does make it hard for the small person, though.
No, there's quite a few little meaderies that are opened up in Canada. That's the next series is going to be Canadian mead. So, so get out your pencil. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. The bigger you get, the harder it gets to be able to pull locally, unless you're just in a really concentrated area.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that what I think may happen here is that the price point is just going to get. There's going to be sort of the entry-level mead, which is the honey that you can get at bulk prices all the time. And then there's going to be, honey that mead makers are going to be able to source and probably directly, but from various sources. And hopefully we're going to be able to buy honey from these people and start making higher end meads. And unfortunately, I think for rolling out, for creating a category that can create challenges because of the price you ultimately have to pay for the bottle. But I think it's a good evolution for the category because you have different sort of strata of styles of mead, and the people who have been drinking mead for 7, 10, 12, 15, 20 years are going to demand something that's a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more exotic and a little bit, more a little different. And I'm hoping that that's what the direction that this goes.
Well, I think we're seeing some of that. Ken Tram with his limited run, limited bottles, meads like the Heart of Darkness and what's the one? There's another one that he's got, and I'm totally drawing a blank on the name. But anyway, they're made specifically with his fruits and berries and whatnot that are coming out of his property. So they're very limited run because he doesn't have that much land. So they're the atmosphere. They're the top of the atmosphere for mead. They're limited run, extremely high quality, handcrafted. Because there's very small batch meads. And, I paid $100 for a bottle of Heart of Darkness, and I didn't have any problem at all doing it. It was like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. Can I get two? There was only one, but, I got that one, and it's in, it's in my cellar awaiting the right time. Yeah. But, it's like, I don't know if it'll ever be the right time.
Can I turn the tables here real quick and just ask AJ? Am I correct? You're in Ontario now?
Yes.
So, do you see any similarities between mead and the ice wine market at all?
I don't really have too much of an idea what the market's like because I'm small time and I'm not allowed to sell anything. So I haven't really looked at it very much myself.
A couple of the larger ones have created some small batch handcrafted stuff that's going for higher prices.
Yeah, like there's a cidery in I think near Montreal that a friend got me a bottle of their ice wine made with I guess they froze and pressed the apples, and that was really good stuff. But again, because it was given to me, I have no idea how much it costs and no idea how much it costs compared to what their regular stuff is.
Well, I know it's coming in. Some of the stuff I've seen with even our local distributor here that I distribute through is their 375 ml bottles are selling, and obviously not at a huge rate, but in the $30 to $40 price range. Mm-hmm. I see a tremendous opportunity for me in that area. Granted, we're not even doing it yet, but I do see some similarities in that.
We're seeing
I could see that. There's a fruit winery that I've gone to a couple of times that that's about the price range that their regular bottles are, and then a winery around the corner for their ice style wine was about twice the price. So yeah, for about the same price for a 350 ml or 375 ml. So yeah, that does sound about right.
Yeah, there's some of that. Well, Moonlight up your way, Ben, has got some high-end short-run 375s that are going for $30-$40.
Yeah, Michael's done really well. I mean, he's
he has.
Hats off to him, and I have a lot of respect for Michael, and I'm glad to know that he's right in my backyard. He's been around mead for a long time, and I see the success that he's had, and take a lot of points from him for sure.
Well, and he's really, he's like many of you guys. He's out there educating, and he's not afraid to, he's secure in the knowing that he's got a good thing and knows how to run his business. So he's not afraid to help the up and comers because, a rising tide floats all boats. So he's kind of in that space. And yeah, I mean, I'd seen you guys do it, and B Nectar does it, and Ken Schramm does it. And, I mean, there are many meaderies around the country and in Canada that go out of their way to help the noobs because we're all in this together.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. So I know JD's aching to answer the question that he's got his cursor on right now. So.
The mead cocktails.
I'm watching you. Yeah.
Yeah. While I was cruising through earlier doing my homework here, before the show, and I came across one that had tequila in it. And I thought, okay, tequila. I mean, my wife and I are pretty much tequila connoisseurs here. How did you come up with these cocktails, Ben? I'm really eager to try some at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've been collecting cocktails for 7 years, and I'm assuming you're talking about, a couple that were described on our website where we worked with a local, award-winning mixologist to come up with some stuff. And it's, we've found the mead cocktail thing to be, there's a lot of different ways to kind of, to go at it, because some are more complicated than others. And we've kind of come around and decided to either make our own, which we've done with the lavender lemonade here, which is our 7% alcohol mead, or kind of promote the industry of mixology in itself and the art around that into becoming creative. So we come up with cocktails that would show people what other ingredients go well with mead. And there's a ton of them. So that's been kind of our approach, if I've answered your question correctly.
Well, yeah. I mean, some of these look just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And on our website, we've got a handful of cocktails that you would need your own sort of $2,000 wet bar to come up. But the idea is really to inspire and show the versatility of the category, and that was the goal.
And these some of these, we can go ahead and throw a shout out to Roxanne Dragon. She's a bar manager apparently at Hugo's Restaurant in Portland, Maine. This is where some of these recipes have come from, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we worked with Roxanne to come up with those, and it was awesome. It was a really fun project. And Hugo's at the time, and this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. Hugo's at the time had just won their first James Beard award.
Nice
for Rob Evans as executive chef, and we were elated.
Holy crap!
And we were elated to have to work with an establishment of this caliber and getting. Kind of passing the story of mead along in some fashion, whatever that fashion may be. And needless to say, a cool story about that same restaurant was Rob Evans, the chef. I believe he used our blueberry mead in a reduction for a recipe. So at the time we are not at the time, it's still, we're always out there trying to communicate with people that this is a category that hasn't been defined yet. And it's really defined by, the people who drink it, produce it, talk about it, write about it. And it's a pretty cool, versatile beverage. And I feel like the limits, we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool doing that. I love seeing it. And tell Roxanne next time you talk to her, more amaretto, less tequila. Blech.
I will.
Never had iodine tequila in college. Haven't had it since. Just nope, never, not again, ever. Yeah,
whole glass of nope.
Oh yeah, several glasses of nope.
Yeah, I did that with vodka. I think.
Yep, there's a reason why they call it tequila. So, do we got any callers, JD?
Nobody's calling yet, but hey, I know you're out there listening, so pick up the phone, give us a call. You got the
Chris.
yeah. Chris and David. I know Chris in Mississippi, David in Texas down there. I know you're listening. Meat and food is another big thing. And, you're talking about this deal with Hugo's Restaurant. There's not a lot of information out there about mead and food, pairing mead with food like there is about wine.
There's actually a book coming out about that, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
We'll be interviewing her later.
How do you see that going forward, Ben?
Meat and food?
Yeah.
I think I see it as it's sort of got it exists. There's plenty of meat out there that's food friendly. I don't want to discount what the brewers have done, but they've jumped on the bandwagon of using, it's an excuse to drink the product. It's, you can pair beer with food. Obviously wine was always technically meant to be paired with food. I think because the acidity in the wine and the food really balance each other out really well. And beer brewers, craft beer brewers now are pairing beers with food. And obviously I think it makes sense because there's, mead I consider like a wine without the acidity in a lot of senses. So kind of like I said before, a cross between a beer and a wine where, there's plenty of food out there that you can pair mead with that you don't need a really, really acidic wine for. We do a lot with seafood up here in Portland. There's spicy food. There's cheeses. There's, with the kind of local foodie industry that's taken off here, we've been able to really kind of complement that by inserting meat as an option in whatever people are consuming.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I think it's perfect. That's what we want. And even sweet meat. I think any type of meat has something that could be paired with it. It's just a matter of how to present that to people and how to get them educated and get them comfortable with doing something that maybe they hadn't been told to do before.
I think we have to arrange a email meetup between your friend the chef and Chrissy at Kukulon, because she's actually writing a book on food and mead pairing. Oh,
I know. I've talked to Chrissy about that. I can't wait to read it.
I know, me too. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy copies for all my friends. There's going to be a lot of that going on around here. I'm hoping to buy several boxes of it and put it up on Got Mead so we can move some more for her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, put me down for one. Anything that can educate my palate's a good idea.
Yeah, I hear that.
Well, I hope you get Chrissy on the show soon because she is a passionate, educated mead maker and is just she's just a delight to talk to and to so.
Yeah, she really is. I wanted to let her get past turkey and chicken processing season because they do a lot of that and they stay really busy. I got to tour her facility when I drove down when I was staying at my daughter's in Tacoma, and so I drove down to her place outside, just like 30 minutes outside Portland. But I'm going to get her on probably right at the beginning of December and get her in here, and hopefully if the book's ready, then we can pitch her book for her. That'd be great.
One of the things that I do all the cooking in my house too, and I love to cook. In fact, in my next life, I'll probably come back as a chef, but cooking with mead is something that I haven't.
Or as a roast,
yeah.
Depending on who you stop.
I haven't experimented with cooking with mead yet, and that's something that I'm eager to try.
I can give you a couple suggestions if you'd like.
Sure.
One is a brine, like a dry mead as a brine, like with chicken. You put a whole chicken in a. It's an expensive brine. I can tell you. Once you made it yourself, I will say, but the honey is really nice. When you go to cook the chicken, it's nice. It caramelizes on the outside, and really The nice thing, if you're dealing with 12% alcohol meads, is there's just a lot of flavor that can leach from the mead into the meat in that situation. Again, I'll be honest, I am no 5-star chef, but I do like to experiment, and I've had some success with that. And I've also, heard and done some reductions with mead, and had some really, unique and interesting flavors come out of those experiments.
Well, I'll.
So good luck to you, and please, I want to hear about it. And I want to hear about cocktails that you like, and I want to hear about dishes that you've made with mead, because I will incorporate them into our kind of long list of mead uses, which we've been working on.
Pears poached in cherry mead is awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
use it when I'm making gravy for, for chicken or for a beef dish that needs gravy. When I pour the juice in, I also add mead, and then, put that in and thicken it. After I put the meat in, and I put the flour and water in and thicken it, and it always adds a really amazing flavor to the gravy.
Awesome.
I've got a lot of people going, "Oh my God, what'd you put in this?" I'm going, "Alcohol." There's meat in there. And they're like, "Okay, really?"
Well, I'm eager to try the Mia Carino on, with the tequila that's featured on your website here, but I'm just going to have to burn some honey and figure out where to get some clove syrup. So, but
Middle Eastern restaurants or Middle Eastern groceries, clove syrup.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, they have all that good stuff. That's where I get my rose water from my rotomills.
But it looks interesting. All these cocktails featured on your website. And for all of our listeners out there at MaineMeadworks.com, you got to check it out and go visit and take a look at what he's got going on over there. And we do have a caller on the line, 8824. What's your name? Where are you from? And welcome.
Good evening. Yeah, this is Matt from Minneapolis. How are you tonight?
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
It's Ben.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to, call in. I was with my wife on our 10th anniversary at the end of July, and we toured your facility, and actually during Mead Day, and you had quite the crowd there. Just a wonderful tasting room, and you had the honey exchange. I guess doing a demo. I have a sticker here that I'm looking at, and it's just a wonderful time. And you had a great tour of the facility. You were talking about it earlier with the way that you ferment the honey at your facility.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, how long does it actually take to ferment through your columns until you actually dump that mead into tanks, etc.? During the tour, it was just a real fascinating. I probably had about a half dozen tours of meaderies, and it was really fascinating the way that you fermented your honey. And I guess I was wondering if you could give me a little bit more detail around that process.
Yeah, well, sure, absolutely. Matt, thanks so much for your kind words about the tasting room. And I think it was August 1st you were here. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
That was the national meeting?
Yes.
Perfect. And so the honey, and we mix up the honey and water, and we pump the mead through at varying rates, but usually at this sort of 50 gallons a day per fermenter. We get between 8 to 10% alcohol in the first 24 hours, which is really, it's pretty fast. And what we do is we collect all the mead that comes out of the top of the fermenter gets collected into another container. And for those technical people out there who understand primary and secondary, I'd like to think that we have two stages of primary fermentation. So we have primary, which happens in the column. And then whatever mead is coming out of the column is being collected into another tank. and there's a small amount of yeast in there, and there's enough yeast to finish the fermentation to a completely dried product, which is the way a lot of our meads kind of start out. So, and then that takes an additional, depending, anywhere from 5 to 10 days. And I think it really depends on a number of factors. But generally speaking, our fermentations is complete in, within 10 days from start of fermentation.
Just unbelievable. And I apologize. I think I called in a little late. Maybe you'd already described that, but really impressive in terms of the way that you ferment out the honey. And I think, you go through a tour, and frankly, I think I went through the tasting first before I went through the tour. So I didn't really remember as much, but it was a great time. And thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Matt. I really appreciate the kind words.
Thanks for the call, Matt.
Thanks for calling, Matt.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Before tasting, that's not my notes.
Yeah, right?
I just started getting into this mead making business, Ben, and I've learned quite a bit since being here with AJ and Vicky. And if you stick around for the next segment, Ask Oscar will be coming up. And I've learned so much that I went out and bought some new equipment. One of the pieces being a stainless steel fermenter. So AJ and Vicky, I guess my next investment is one of these stainless steel columns. What do you think?
I hate you, right?
Yeah, and your wife is gonna kill you.
Yeah, because that needs to be fed every day, right?
Yeah.
I don't.
Just remember, JD, your wife could turn you into a pretzel anytime she wants to.
She has handcuffs.
How tall are these columns, Ben?
Well, the ones that we're running right now are about 10 feet tall.
Well, that might be.
So, yeah, you need some headspace for it. And,
been needing to do that garage renovation for a while now.
Needless to say, we've had several. We've had others that are small glass columns that certainly resemble a laboratory or somebody's. I will say we started in a garage, so certainly if you're interested in learning more about this, please contact me.
Absolutely. So the city never came around and asked you what those columns were sticking out of the roof of your garage were?
They're radio antennas, officer. I swear to God.
We've got Chris from Mississippi on the line with us.
Of course. Good we evening, do. Doctor. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Very good, Chris.
Oh, I wanted to ask him, Ben, you talked about session meads as something that's fairly new to me, and people are really getting into that. Talk a little bit about the different flavors and things that you're doing on the session meads.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So I call a session mead something that's 7% alcohol, and I think if you talk to most brewers in the world, they'd be, completely shocked at that because that's not at all a session beer. Session beer, I think, tends to be under 5%, somewhere in the 3 to 5% range. But our session meads and what we've called them are lower than the 12.5%. We do it a little bit differently, where we blend in a dry mead. And the first product that we launched in this, I call it the Ram Island brand, and it's different, and it comes in a brown beer bottle, and it's available on draft and in kegs around Portland, Massachusetts, Vermont, the other places that we distribute. And what we're doing is we're blending the mead in with, it's kind of like a cocktail, as I mentioned before, where we make our own iced tea in house. And so we make tea, we add lemons, mint, and then we blend that in with the fermented mead. And that's how we're able to get the session mead. I'm very familiar with a bunch of other meaderies out there that are doing session meads that are just honey. They're 5% alcohol. They're fermented to dryness. I think they alter the amount of residual sugar that they start out with. and they're able to finish fermentation around 5%, and then they're carbonating it or sparkling it slightly or however, whatever their process is, and then putting it into a bottle that way. But the way we do it is we have a dry mead that we blend in with tea and make our own kind of cocktail in-house.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. What kind of flavors are you doing?
Right now we have an iced tea and a lavender lemonade, and we've had those for a couple of years. They're year-round here in Maine, which is surprising considering that flavor profile. But we've just recently done a chai mead where we're using chai tea.
Really?
That's our fall. Yeah, that's our kind of our fall winter seasonal, and then we'll do that'll be available through December, and then ginger mead comes out in January, is available through April. So this is it's a new thing that we're experimenting with, and it's kind of neat because we can get the mead. We sell kegs of it, and so we're able to get that many more glasses of mead in people's hands, and it's been a fun project.
Oh, that's
well,
cool.
save some of that chai mead for me because I'm a total chai nut.
Absolutely.
And I always tell whenever I call in and one of the commercial meaderies are on, I always tell them, get your stuff in Mississippi because we have none.
Yes, you do. There's a meadery there. I posted it on the Got Mead Facebook page yesterday and said, Chris from Mississippi, look, y'all got a meadery, so you need to go to the page.
They don't sell in the state.
Do you have a lot of good honey down there, I'm assuming, Chris?
Around the area, not right here, no. I've spoken about this before, that all of our local honey is we have a lot of bitter weed, milkweed, things that cause things to be very bitter and sour. So local honey in this immediate area is not the best for mead. It's good table honey. But the South does have some good mead honeys. Yep.
Tupelo,
and of course my favorite is sourwood from up in the mountains.
Yeah, that's good too.
But I've got a recipe to share for a session mead. I know a lot of people are getting into that and they want something with a fast turnaround. So I've got one that I'll share with everybody on the board if they'd like to see it. So I'll be posting that up pretty soon.
That would be yes, Chris.
Love to try.
Awesome, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Always a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for calling, Chris. We've got Ask Oscar coming up here next, so I expect to hear from you again.
All right. I'll be around. I'm always around.
Yep.
All right, Chris.
Yeah,
thanks
Ben,
for the call. Bud.
Serious
Thanks
question.
for calling, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, I don't know if you've listened to previous shows, but Chris is practically a guest host. He's on almost every show. So
Oh, yeah.
He's our groupie.
we've had some,
He's got
we right.
questions. Yes. I'm really interested to see his recipe, and I will say that I'm the first. He says that the honeys he has aren't good for mead making, and I just on principle would tend to disagree with that in some sort form. But I'd love to try milkweed honey and a lot of things that we can't get up here because I think that that's kind of the coolest thing about mead. And perhaps there's sour flavors that are produced during it, but sour beers are all the rage right now, so I don't see why that would necessarily be a bad thing, and it would just be it would be a good representation of the geography that he lives in. So,
yeah. There's a lot of different honeys out there. So we're gonna move into the next segment here. JD's been saying we got to wrap for like 15 minutes. But you're welcome to stick around. We're going to talk about and I can hear the groaning now. Pumpkin spice mead. So all the weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth is going on out in the interwebs of people.
No. I say chai is the new pumpkin spice.
Thank you.
Chive is the new.
Chai, not chive.
Oh, chive.
Chive is onion-like. Chai, the tea. Yeah,
it's the new pumpkin.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm right there with you, Ben, and you got to save me some of that because I totally want to try that. I love that. I've got to somehow get my hands on a case of the lavender lemonade ones. I did. I drank one of those when the mead maker guys interviewed me when I was still at my daughter's out on the West Coast. And you know where I got it? I picked it up at Christy's place.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
So I went all the way across the country to get your mead.
Well, we can, hopefully, maybe I can be a guest pour there sometime. And if I get all your addresses for one of your upcoming shows, I'd be happy to provide the mead that you guys drink while you're on the show. And let me know what you think.
If you can get it up here, I would be more than happy.
Yeah, she's been a tough one since she's in Canada. Eh? No, that's why I say we got to do a series of Canadian meaderies because then they won't be able to send it in to me and JD. She'll get it though.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Ben, it's been very enlightening. Really love the chat, and thanks for being here with us.
No, I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you guys, and hopefully I wasn't too long-winded. And we'll look forward to hopefully meeting you, AJ, and JD in person sooner than later. And Vicky, as always, it's nice to hear you. And we'll keep on pressing on for mead. Yeah,
totally. And Mazer Cup, March 2016.
I'm on it.
Just saying.
All right.
Not that I have any vested interest or anything, but
I'm dying to get out there. It's
and I'm telling you, I mean, we've got I missed the old location, but the new location is bigger, more posh, and just as much fun. And we've actually got more party zones. And the pool's outside, but that's okay because there's like a fire pit.
Yeah. Do you guys ever think about the Mazer Cup? Anyway, I'll save that.
Oh, moving it east. Yes, we get that a lot. I'll bring the Mazer Cup team on, and you can ask them that question. Okay.
I'll call in during the next session and ask you. All right. Well, thank you. I'm going to sign off now, and it's been nice chatting with you all, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Ben.
You too, Ben. Thanks.
Bye.
Ben Alexander from Maine Meadworks.
Try to say that fast 3 times after a whole bunch.
Well, that's what messed me up at the beginning. I'm trying to do Maine Meadworks meadery.
Blah, 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 blah.
Kind of one of those. Peter Piper picked one of those pepper things or something or other. But
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper mead.
Something like that. Hey, Ask Oscar's coming up, but first we'll go over the pumpkin project just briefly, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Starlight Mead, located in the heart of North Carolina, specializes in wine-style meads of varying sweetness level. With a menu that usually includes 16 different flavors and featuring local North Carolina honey, there's always something new to try. Whether you like a drier mead that mimics a red or white wine, or something sweeter with fruit or herbs, Starlight Mead has got you covered. Come in for a tasting. Starlight Mead Artisan Winery and Tasting Room is located at 480 Hillsborough Street, Suite 1000, Pittsboro, North Carolina, at Chatham Mills. This historic Label Mill complex is located just north of downtown Pittsboro on 15501, 2 miles south of Highway 64 bypass, or order a bottle from vinoshipper.com. Either way, Starlight Mead hopes to surprise and delight you. If you're a mead maker, you need gotmead.com. It is the absolute best and most complete resource for mead making you will ever need. The forum consists of recipes, discussion on equipment, techniques, and methods, complete with its own batch calculator. Gotmead.com offers everything you need to start making mead today. And for just $25 a year, as a patron member, you'll have access to proven award-winning recipes, fermentation management, equipment discussion, and a whole lot more. Gotmeat.com. Sign up today. Growing up in a culture where home winemaking was a way of life, Sergio Mutella naturally began making wine himself as an adult, finding his way into brewing beer and eventually his discovery of mead. Earning numerous mead-making awards, Melovino opens its doors, becoming the first meadery in the Garden State. Featuring 20 different craft meads with amazing variety, Melovino is the fastest-growing meadery in the country. Melovino offers tastings and tours every weekend, and all of their meads are available online, shipping to 22 states across the country. Go to melovino.com and book your tour and tasting today. Located at 2933 Vauxhall Road near the rear of the Millburn Mall in Vauxhall, New Jersey. melovino.com.
Oh my gosh. Some of the conversations that happen in the background here on Got Mead Live, if you could only hear. But we are back live. And we have the pleasure of having Oscar with us in person live tonight, which is a rarity. Welcome, Oscar. We're very glad that you could join us here tonight.
Happy to be here. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. We last week we started, we talked about this pumpkin pie project. And of course, you've been in the loop every step of the way. And I told everybody on the show that, I would give weekly updates. Really didn't intend on spending a whole lot of time on it, since I spent a lot of time on it last week when we developed this whole thing. But basically, what's happening now, everything has been pitched, thrown in, mixed, and everything. We are under fermentation, and Oscar, you were correct about the takes off like a rocket thing. It's one of those things where you light the fuse, and it waits and waits and waits, and then suddenly it's like blast off. And that's what it did at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. And when I noticed the must going up into the airlock, I had to quickly run over and, of course, exchange that for the blow-off tube. And the blow-off tube is still attached, mind you. So,
well, you're lucky.
I prevented the volcano from happening, and I believe I caught it just in time. But again, basically everything obviously has been mixed. We started out at 1.136, right on target. The roasting, I was kind of curious about that, because I had 26 pounds of pumpkin. And of course, the 4 pounds, I had basically 30 pounds of product. Well, that all reduced down to about 13 pounds of product.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I suppose. Having never really gone through that kind of a process before, I kind of expected more, but then, there were a lot of skin, a lot of waste, and of course the seeds and that kind of thing. That went with it. But we pitched the D21 yeast, 16 grams of it, was pitched at midnight on Saturday, and I purposely waited that late because I knew that it would probably take some time for it to start, and by 9 a.m. it did on Sunday morning. And of course, like I said, by 1 o'clock, of course, it was coming up through the airlock. So it waited that long before it really started. And of course, at the end of lag there at 9 o'clock, the 5 grams of nutrient went in with a good stir, aeration, and I reduced. We started off at 65 degrees. Now I noticed, Oscar, that the D21 is good from 53 degrees Fahrenheit up to about 77. And I thought I was going to be safe at 65, so that's where we started. But then consulting with you about the activeness of the yeast and everything, I decided to go ahead and take it down to 60 degrees. It's been at 60 now since Sunday afternoon, late Sunday afternoon, and it's still fermenting like crazy. So the daily routine includes the stirs, the aeration. pH got a little out of hand. It went up to 4.9. I kind of freaked out after adding 308 grams of tartaric and malic acid. I was able to get it down to about 3.8. but it really freaked me out about the amount of acid I was adding. Is that too much, or I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, I guess we're going to see. I mean, bringing it back into balance is fine. A lot of times you have to kind of adjudicate based on the type of recipe that you're making. But this one, I've never really had to go that far with the acid. I've never, I don't, I was looking at my notes a while ago, last week when we were communicating back and forth, and I don't remember seeing any notes about huge acid adjustments. I made at the end, right at the very end after I racked into secondary, I went ahead and adjusted it, if I remember right, with about 40 or 42 grams, I can't remember off the top of my head, of tartaric. And that was it. I don't see any other notes in there as far as adjustments go on any of the other ones, except for a couple where I was making additions at the end with different kinds of things like maple syrup or birch syrup or that kind of thing.
Do you have any idea what would have made it go all the way up to 4.9, or why it would have increased like that? Or maybe that's what started out.
My guess would be the pumpkin material. You've got a lot of cellulose, hemicellulose, that kind of stuff in there. And that kind of stuff can get in there and kind of absorb a lot of different things, everything from tannin and acid to, different kinds of flavors that might be out there. So at the same time while it's contributing. So that was one of the reasons I mentioned earlier on that having some kind of an enzyme in there would be good too.
Yeah, it did sit. Yeah, the pumpkin product did sit, for 24 hours. Actually, a little better than 24 hours on the enzyme on that lally something.
Lalazyme.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, after that, we went through the whole mixing and the yeast pitching and all of that. So I'm looking now. The curious thing about this whole thing, the fermenter is a 7-gallon, and it's right up to the top, including the bag. And I was very surprised. 13 pounds of pumpkin product displaces almost 1.5 gallons of liquid. So those of you out there, with a 6-gallon bucket, be aware. If you roast that much pumpkin into 13 pounds, it displaces a lot. So,
that's the classic conservation of mass right there. Remember, a gallon of water is 12 pounds.
Oh, there you go. Well, yeah. that makes sense then, because it was almost 1.5 gallons, and we pulled that much out, saved it. It's refrigerated. So, if we need to use it for some kind of backup or, back feeding or whatever we need to do. Now,
make a cordial out of it.
Say that again?
Make a cordial out of it if you don't use it to back feed or something. You can make a bitchin' cordial out of that, and it'll take like a month. So you can be drinking that while you're waiting for your mead to be ready,
Yeah. Well, when I pull the bag out, now this is a question. Might as well start off the Ask Oscar session because, and this is a question that I've looked around, and there are wildly varying answers to this. When do you pull the bag? When do you pull the fruit out of your mead?
Depends on what you're after. If you've got a good light taste that you like, and you don't want to take any chances on losing that, yank it. If you've got a light taste but you want a heavier taste, leave it in for a while. After it's been in, if you've been into your fermentation and you're macerating on the pulp of that pumpkin that was either baked or as fresh or whatever you used, you're going to keep an eye on, you're going to want to keep a sharp eye on it after about, 10, 12 days, because fruit, vegetable material, any other kind of plant material that's being broken down, at some point is going to start turning south on you. So you're going to want to get to it before it makes that turn and leaves you some, some flavors that aren't desirable. So, taste it daily. If it starts getting a little bit funkadelic, it's time to yank the bag.
Yeah.
And at that age, if it's been macerating for, say, 15 days or 16 days, I wouldn't press too hard on that bag to try and get everything out of it. I'd just go ahead and, give it a couple of little settling tugs to get it all kind of settled, get it out of there, and then move on. Then go ahead and press it into a separate vessel. And if it tastes okay, you can add it back in. But if you press it and there's a lot of, like old vegetal kind of characters and some astringency from, some pumpkin that's been sitting in there for a while and other things that just aren't desirable, then you can always toss it or, put it in a bottle and give it to someone you don't like.
Yeah.
and he's not kidding. He's not kidding there, JD. I would pull my fruit bag out and then squeeze every bitty bit of juice out of there because you didn't want to lose any of it. And I ended up having some of those off notes in there. I didn't know that was where it came from until I was talking to Pete about it. And he says, well, did you squeeze the bag? And I'm like, yeah. He says, there you go. So, Well,
I have this... I'm a big fan of Rube Goldberg, and I've got this little contraption set up where the bag,
here we go.
The bag will actually hang over the top of the fermenter and be allowed to drip. I'm not a believer in squeezing.
Wait, you don't
bag.
have a little boot that swings in from the bottom that kicks the bag or something? I mean, we're gonna do Rube Goldberg. Do it right. Big fly swatter comes in because the cat tripped the thing when he ate the cheese.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you're right, Rube Goldberg.
So far,
the dog agrees with me. See,
so far it tastes pretty good. It's a little on the tart side, but I suppose that's to be expected after 308 grams of acid being added back. But the pumpkin is very prevalent. Now, it doesn't taste like Grandma's pumpkin pie yet because obviously the spices haven't been added. The maple syrup haven't been added, but it definitely has a very distinct pumpkin flavor.
You need to give me the recipe you ended up going with because we were still debating last week.
Yes.
So give me the recipe that you ended up doing, and I'll put that on last week's show, and then I'll take this that you've got here in the show notes and put it on this week's show so people can see the progression.
Right. If you hold your cursor over JD's Pumpkin Project in the show notes.
Is that linked to the web? Yep. Okay.
It's actually I moved it to a blog. I set up a blog, so I'm just updating the blog as I go with this thing daily.
Okay. You've got a free blog and Got Me, just saying.
Yeah.
If you want to use it. Yeah, that's where it is. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll go snag it off of there then so that it runs in two places and just link it back.
Yeah, and that's I've updated all of the ingredients and everything, so, that's what we're running right now. So, but, like I said, Oscar, very distinct pumpkin. There's a lot of sediment. I mean, the must is very thick. And I suppose that's from product leaching out of the fruit bag. And I suppose that's going to be okay, huh?
Yeah, it's just going to take a little while for it to clear, which is fine. You might have to fine it at some point, literally. But for now, it's okay to have that in there. Once you pull out the fruit, not the fruit bag, but all of the pumpkin in the bag out of there, you're going to have about at least a 1 gallon displacement, which will probably be a good place for that mead that you've got, or the must that you've got sitting in the refrigerator, to go in and give you that nice little top back up with it. So
and of course that's going to come after the maple syrup, however.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
At that point too, when you rack, you can just put a cheesecloth or something like that and rack through it if you want to help take out some of that extra pulp that's laying around in there.
Well, I anticipate 5 gallons, and it's in a 7-gallon fermenter, so I fully expect to lose a couple of gallons just based on the sediment value. It may even come to more than that. I don't know yet. So, but the plan is to rack into a 5-gallon carboy. In fact, I may even go pick up a 6-gallon just in case. But my plan is for 5 gallons. I mean, if it comes out a little bit less than that, I'm okay with that too. So, but I guess that concludes the update for the pumpkin pie project. Everything seems to be going according to plan. I'm happy with the fermentation. It's still very lively, even with the blow-off tube in it. I mean, it's still blowing off about once every 5 or 6 seconds. And life goes on. So, next question.
Well, if we don't have any callers awaiting on the line, one that occurs to me, and it's kind of in line with the pumpkin project, but it applies to a lot of other meads, is the haze. A lot of these types of meads, especially if you're using a big, heavy fruit component, or in this case, a vegetable component, you end up with that haze at the end. So what's best practices here when you end up with that haze and you want a pretty mead?
Well, it depends on what's causing the haze.
Okay, well,
take a look at it.
Let's start with the pumpkin project and just, a couple different ones.
Okay, well, pumpkin, haze is going to be from all of the pulp that's still in there. So you're just going to have to take some time and let it settle out. Putting it into, when you transfer to a carboy or something like that, if you have a kegerator there, crank it way down to about, 36, 34 degrees to help sediment some of that out. When it's sedimented out, rack off of it and let it stand for a while again and see if it clears. If it doesn't, then you'll have to move on to fining or filtering, depending on, if you have a bottle filter, that's great. If you don't, then fining it is. And, the sky's the limit on those. There's sparkaloid, there's isinglass, there's all kinds of different kinds of stuff that you can use. If you're using isinglass, just be aware that there's some people that are allergic to fish. So you got to be careful with that. If you're using casein, there's some people that are allergic to milk. So you got to be careful with that.
Is there any impact on flavor when you're using those kinds of materials to clear your mead?
Yeah, they all bring something to the table. The trick is to find the one that is least impacts what it is you're making. So, if you're using bentonite or super clear or sparkaloid or isinglass or casein or even pigeon egg whites, they all bring a little something to the table. So it's always a good idea to go with the light-handed first to see if that clears it off. If it doesn't, then, sometimes a little bit of sitting time in bulk storage will help to clear it. You can also, if you're planning on oaking it, that's a good time to oak it. You can also add small amounts of grape tannin to help clear it as well. You can make small doses into things without really impacting the flavor to the point of where it's going to be discernible by most people, or in some cases, most of the people most of the time. So you kind of have to, manage your batch. You're the manager of that batch. You have to decide what's best. Mix up some of each one of those clearing agents, one of those fining agents, and try a little bit in each one of them and see what they bring to the table as far as flavor, if any, different smells. So, take each batch individually.
Things like bentonite, I've read there's just I wouldn't say quite a debate, but there's some controversy or at least some question about
conversation.
About using bentonite. Can you allude on that at all?
Well, everybody has their own little, hobby horses. I will say that 99% of the people that have told me they can taste a fining agent or they can taste this or they can taste that will not do blind tests with me when I ask them if they want to try that. So
okay.
The problem is everybody forms an opinion, and once they've stated that opinion openly and committed to it, then they don't really have anywhere to go but to say this, that, or the other thing. It's like if they, and they don't want to get called out for it. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who notice a certain flavor or influence from bentonite or any other fining agent, and if they do, that's great. But it's been my experience that people that yap the most about these things influencing flavor as such really, don't have all of the information at hand or the experience at hand or the tasting experience at hand on some of the things. Am I saying that it doesn't affect it? Hell no. there's people out there, including me, that will taste some things or will notice a slight influence, whether it's aromatic or in flavor or in appearance or whatever. I know that certain finding agents, bentonite included, after they've been used, if you're taking a bottle that's been sitting for a while and you kind of accidentally twirl it around, you'll notice like a little swirl of something in there, and then it's like kind of hard to tell, but it's actually some of the remnants of that finding agent in there, and that's been stated out in the forums as well, that more than one or two people have actually seen that. So that's something that I give a bit of credence to. So it's going to manifest differently in different meads. If you're just finding for finding's sake, if you made it traditional, it's clear, but you want it to be ultra polished. Well, maybe you want to second guess that and say, it's clear as it is. I don't need to try and find this, but I know people that will because they want to enter at competitions. And that's the other thing. If you're not entering competitions and you just want to make it pretty, you want to maybe think about getting a filter at some point. But if you're entering competitions and you want it to be pretty, you want it to have a fine polish on it, then, filtering is the way to go. If you're at the home mead maker level, cartridge filters are going to cost you less than going out and buying a plate filter, and you don't even want to know what a crossflow filter is going to cost you.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what do you do when you've got one that's stubborn and is resisting? I've tried sparkleoid bentonite and whatever was in the packet that came with my last wine kit on a banana wine, and the stuff is still cloudy.
I put it into my 2-stage enolmatic filter with the first filter at 1 micron and the second filter at 0.4.
Okay.
That was easy.
Guess what? It goes away.
Yeah, I was getting around to that. It's just such a pain to drag out I have a what is it? Bonvino.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just the thing doesn't prime worth a damn, and it's a real pain to get started. So.
Well, at least it's not like
And I hate bananas anyway, so I'm not really in a hurry. But.
I take it this is a gift mead then.
Well, I made it because the bananas were really essentially gifted to me and starting to go. So it's like, yeah, okay, I always wanted to try this. I wonder if I'll like it any better that way, but I don't really.
It's either banana bread or mead, right?
Yeah.
I like banana bread. I'm not real hot on the banana wine.
Yeah, I'm pretty fond of banana bread too, especially with walnuts. Okay, I've got to ask Oscar question to throw at you that we got in, and it's from Jason Bishop, who is Mazer828 on the forum. And it's an interesting question. I don't think it'll take you long to nail it, but I think it's interesting. He says, 2 scenarios have often made it difficult for me to estimate final ABV, staggered feedings, and addition of fruit. I've asked on the forum and gotten some good feedback, but I'm a perfectionist. Gee, this sounds like somebody I know. And the answers were, let's say, less than perfect. So my question for Oscar is in 2 parts. 1, when doing a high gravity mead and adding 2 or 3 honey additions after initial pitching, also removing some of the mead to make room in the carboy for the honey additions, what is the best method to accurately calculate final ABV?
Without scientific equipment and an e-bouilliometer, it's all you're doing is guesstimating. You can back into it. There's any number of spreadsheets and addition calculators out there. I don't feed my mead like that very much anymore at all. And all I did was, basically use the Got Mead calculator, and there's even like a blending utility that's on that as well that will give you, potential alcohol by volume and such as you keep ratcheting it up. But, if I'm making a high gravity mead, I don't really want to be adding honey to it anymore. Like I mentioned, I've done that before in the past and wasn't really pleased with the final outcome, although some of them turned out well. Most of them were, they had kind of a, phenolic kind of higher alcohol, boozy kind of character. They were hot, they were fusely, and they didn't really care for them that much. So what I do, and I think I've talked about it before, as far as step feeding, is I just take a different view of step feeding, and that is I get my must up to the gravity that I want, or the bricks that I want. So I have the starting concentration of sugar that I want in the must. And if it's super high, say like over 1.14, or, like over 34 bricks, what I do is I go ahead and I make a starter, about a 2-liter starter, and I go ahead and add like half a liter into it. Then I'll add another half a liter until it's up to, 3 liters, and I'll add a full liter. And once that thing is going, I add it gradually back into the must, the high gravity must, because the yeast has become acclimated to that. And you're going to need an ass kicker yeast to go into that and to be able to sustain the fermentation. So, that's going to put you into the 18% plus range with that yeast. So you're going to want to be going with something like EC 1118, K1B 1116, Uvaperm 43, L225, DV10, even D80 will take you up to that. So just some things to be, aware of when you're adding that stuff in. And if you're starting with a high gravity must, and you know what your PAV is going to be, it depends on how far somebody's dog is barking.
No, that's Fee. She's having nightmares.
Okay, so yeah, basically, if you start out with a gravity, that is known, figuring out the PAV isn't too difficult. There's factors during fermentation that are going to, bring it up or bring it down based on temperature, based on available sugar, based on how much you're manipulating it and feeding it, so on. But like I said, there's calculators and spreadsheets out there available to anybody who wants to really dial into that. I don't worry so much about the PAV as I do about how it tastes and what the final product's going to be. I'm not producing mead for sale, so things like that I don't think about, honestly, because my target audience is family and friends, and they're not going to care if it turns out, hey, I thought you said that was going to be 17%. It tastes more like it's 19%. Hey, sorry, you don't need to drink it. Get the hell out,
I think we've all got one of those. We've all got one of those friends. I know I have one. Okay, yeah. And then his part 2 was, when adding fruit, what is the best method to determine how much fermentable sugar you're adding, i.e. how many gravity points, so you can accurately determine final gravity and ABV? Anecdotally, I've been looking up the sugar content for each fruit, and let's say, okay, he says what he's been doing is looking up the sugar content online for each fruit and then calculating how much of the total mass of the fruit is sugar, and then assuming that I've added pure fructose sucrose by weight to my mead and dividing by volume in gallons to get the gravity points. Hope I'm close. Boy, this guy is a perfectionist.
Okay, well, that's great. To make a really complex subject a little more simple for myself, what I do is I just take some of the fruit, put it into a baggie, and roll over it with a rolling pin a few times till I've got juice. Take an eyedropper. I take the refractometer that I've got, drop a couple drops on that of the refractometer. I get a reading on it. Then I go ahead and take as much fruit as I'm going to have in there, put it into another baggie and weigh it, and that tells me what my quantity is. Then I use the blending calculator on gotmead.com. How's that sound?
Go. I like it.
That's something that had crossed my mind putting this pumpkin thing together, and trying to look everything up on the internet, I came up with something in the neighborhood of like maybe 60 grams of sugar, which really didn't seem like a whole lot that would impact anything in the must. So I just kind of let it go and went with it.
Yeah, oversimplifying like it did there, it's just, you're basically trying to get an idea of what the juice is, and there's other factors that are involved, pulp, skin, acid, tannin, and everything that kind of factor into that. Again, I don't have, like an extra, 25, 13,000, however much a gas chromatograph costs to give me exact readings. So, and honestly, for me, I don't care. I don't care about exact readings on how much sugar I'm adding and all that. I know what the base recipe is. I've got a good idea of what the bricks of the stuff that I'm going to be adding is, and I know how much of it I'm going to be adding. So that gets me into the ballpark. And, if you're just making stuff at home, that's fine. If you end up going professional, you're going to have equipment that's going to help you figure that out anyhow. So, don't get lost in the calculations and the amounts. Don't get married into an exact process that you use for every other mead that you make. I don't believe that one process fits every different mead you're ever going to make. I don't believe in that any more than I believe that there is a standard staggered nutrient addition that you need for making every mead that you make. It's going to be different with every one of them. Yeah. So, don't let the math and calculation get in the way of you making the best mead that you can. If you feel that it's something that you have to do for scientific curiosity and satisfaction, then head on, Google it up. Google's your buddy on this kind of thing. There's probably somebody out there that spent their entire life, figuring out how to calculate over-the-counter blackberries from the Ralphs down the street, how much sugar they bring to the table, and acid and tannin, and what kind of, characteristics you're going to get from seed astringency and stem astringency and skin astringency, and how that's going to affect your PAB. But to me, it's like, okay, I've got 5 pounds of blackberries. The Brix is 13. I'm adding that into, 10 liters of must that's at 33 Brix, and then just run through the blending calculator and take a look and go, oh, okay, it's going to end up at, XYZ. Great. Now I know what the total Brix is going to be, and I'm probably going to have to add a little more honey or a little more juice that's concentrated to bring the sugar level up, or it's okay where it is, or I can add a little more, juice that's a lower Brix into it to bring the Brix down so that I come into the number that I want. But, anything past that, honestly, in a home mead making scenario, I think is overkill. And again, I'm not saying not to do it. If you're really into it, if you just can't make mead without running calculations on every little bit of it and figuring things out, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't let it rule the way that you make it.
Uh-huh.
And also look up what you need to know beforehand. Like when I was trying to figure that out by math, I realized afterwards I needed much better volume assumptions than I was using. So that's why I just go with spirit indication when it's all over.
Perfect.
We're lucky to have Ask Oscar with us live tonight on Got Mead Live. Now's the time. If you've got a question, 818-921-4680. Get it in while you got the chance. We've got them here for about another... yeah, don't call collect. But we're lucky to have them here on live tonight. One question I've got, Oscar, you keep talking, and you've done this with me through our private consultations.
He's gonna send you a bill one of these days. And you're gonna flip out. Do you know how much he charges to do this stuff? Seriously, I mean, you're gonna get a bill, and your heart will just finally give out altogether. It's just saying. You should warn your wife that she should pay up your life insurance.
We'll go over. I'll take him over to the block and I'll buy him a beer.
Yeah, good luck with that.
He knows what I'm talking about. There's a beer. We've communicated quite a bit with, especially with the traditional, and you have always mentioned Brix. Is Brix a better? Is it better to use Brix than to use specific gravity, or would we be looking at both when we're making mead?
It's interchangeable, really. I don't know that one's better than the other. Brix is a standard used in winemaking. I brought up on winemaking, so Brix was the standard that we were using there. It's simpler than figuring out gravity. It's literally the concentration of sugar and 10 grams, 1 gram, however many grams of liquid you've got, or liters, I should say. So, Brix, gravity, Baum, Balling, Plato, they all measure sugar. So it's just whatever floats your boat. I'm not tied into one. I am how shall I say, volumetric measurement,
flexible,
neutral.
Multilingual.
There you go. You speak both languages.
All right. And by the way, the traditional is coming along very nicely. I took a taste of it today. I can just very faintly, I can taste the wood, the oak that we put into it, and of course, continuing very gently, stirring every other day as instructed. I can't wait for the day that I can get you to taste it, bring a bottle of it down to you, and get you to taste this. As much as you've had a hand in this, and certainly thank you for all the input and everything else for working with me on it. And I fully intend. This pumpkin project was kind of a side thing, mostly for the show and for the community. But I fully intend on doing another traditional. But I want to use a different honey. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out.
Yeah. Get you some mesquite.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what you feel about the Trader Joe's mesquite, but I bought
great honey.
Yeah, I really love it. I bought 5 3-pound containers of it to use, getting ready for this pumpkin thing, and I really love the flavor.
Yeah, it's really good. It will go to crystallize on you quickly, so once you buy it, get to using it within a couple of weeks, because after that, it's going to start crystallizing. Mesquite crystallizes faster than just about any other honey I've used. There's a couple other exceptions out there, but don't remember them off the top of my head. Whereas something like sage hardly crystallizes at all. So it's,
is that a bad
honey is very different.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
It crystallizes.
It just means it crystallizes quicker. It's just, it's just going to go to crystallization quicker than other honeys.
Yeah.
So
we've had
all you need to do.
Just means
all you
use
need to do
instead.
Is put it into a nice warm water bath or wrap a heating pad around it or whatever. About 80 to 90 degrees. You don't really want to go any higher than that. That's close to hive temperature if I'm hearing the apiists around here correctly. And they'll just set their buckets out in the sun on a hot summer day. And we have plenty of those out here lately, don't we, JD?
Yeah, you think? 96, 103 here the other day, but
that's why you guys don't need weathermen. The forecast today is hot and sunny, and tomorrow continued hot and sunny. Next week, hot and sunny.
What do we even pay you for?
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to mortgage the house just to pay the electricity bill this year.
Yeah, I just installed a new HVAC system, and I'm curious to see what my electric bill is going to be for the coming year, because my summer bills are usually just out freaking outrageous. They're just crazy.
Well, California is not necessarily known for, its weather. You can't count on the weather patterns out here at all. We've had 95-degree temperatures in the middle of January. So as much as this might be a little unusual for this time of month out here, it's not all that unusual for California. So.
Well, it was 20 degrees Celsius here yesterday. I was wearing shorts yesterday, and that's up here.
Yeah, we're up in the 40 range here.
Yeah,
40
like
Celsius?
October. This is supposed to be jacket weather, like hypothermia if you go swimming weather.
I know, right? It's like, hello, October. Somebody want to turn down the darn thermostat? Jeez. Yeah. I know, it was like 80. It was like 85 here a couple days ago. I was like, seriously, really? Yeah. I am so done with summer. But one last question, and then we'll let you get on to. I imagine you probably haven't even had dinner yet, Pete.
No, actually, this worked out good. I'm good. I'm tucked up like a little old bug in a rug here.
Oh, cool. Good. I didn't want to be cutting into the foraging for food process that happens after work.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, let's throw another question out there. And
Well,
I know you got more, JD.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can keep this up all night. Let's go back.
Just remember that Bill's out there. Just be careful.
Let's go back to the traditional Oscar for a minute. Comparing this fermentation with the pumpkin fermentation, as you recall, we started out as something around 65 degrees, I think, and I believe that was D47 that we used. And
correct.
It was really, really slow getting started. And you had me take the temperature up to around 72 degrees, 71, something like that. And then it started perking up. I mean, it's like, waking up a sick child almost, and it was fine. I mean, it took off, did its thing. I gently took the temperature back down a little bit, and it was okay. Whereas the pumpkin with the D21, granted, this may be the difference in yeast, that I'm using, but I mean, this thing started out at 65 degrees, and I had to immediately take it down to 60 degrees just to try to get it under control a little bit. So why the big difference? Why didn't the D47 do well at 65, which is perfectly fine for that particular yeast, but it did better at 72?
Well, it's the same reason that some people sweat their ass off when it's hot and sunny, and other people don't seem fazed by it. It's just, it's different metabolism, different yeast strains, different characteristics, and D47 seems to do well right in that range between 65 and 72 most of the time. If it's sluggish, you got to bring the temperature up a little bit, then let it get going, and then you can gradually ratchet it back down. D21, it's like, hey, I got sugar, look at all this pulp. I got minerals and proteins and all kinds of enzymes too that I don't normally get in just honey. So take a step back. It's time for me to flex my muscles and go. The D47 is a Côte d'Aron yeast from the southern portion below the Gironde River over in the Bordeaux region down in the Côte d'Aron, where they make a lot of Côte d'Aron wines, like Chateauneuf du Pape d'Aron wines, featuring things like Syrah and Grenache. The D21 is from the Languedoc, which is further down in France, down toward the southern portion of France, over toward the area of Spain, and over, about east of, or actually west of, Provence, west and south of Provence. So different kinds of grape, different kind of weather, different kind of temperatures. Different strain of yeast. It's going to have different kind of characteristics, and there a lot of them there working with white grapes, Picpoul, and some of the others. Even a lot of people down there now making Chardonnays and straight ahead Cabernets, and so the yeast strains that you have down there are going to act a little bit differently than you do, and they're going to be acting up further north. Which again, further north is referring to closer to the west coast of France, just toward the middle. If you're going north and south, and then even further up, you're talking about, again, different kinds of strains of yeast that you're going to find in the Loire Valley, doing those Colombards and Chenin Blancs and Sauvignon Blancs up there that make the Loire Valley turn out such great white wines. And you've got Burgundy, those nice white Burgundies like Chardonnay and Champagne. Further up and more to the east, it's a little bit cooler there. So your Champagne yeast like EC1118 or Priest de Mousse, DV10, and some of the other grapes they use for fermenting, like cuvées for making champagne, or again, they're a different animal there. So they all react differently to temperature and sugar, the concentration of sugar, the clarity or turbidity of the must that they're fermenting. And, D21 is very good with turbid musts, as you found out. It just goes crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was rather surprised because I thought the cooler temperature would really help keep it under control. But, when you came back on that email and said, it's like, it'll take off like a rocket, I thought, I might be in trouble here. So
I purposely didn't plan. We did all of our errands early in the morning, and I was back here rather quickly because I didn't want this thing. I didn't want to come home to this orange slush all over the floor.
Our ceiling.
Yeah. And I caught it just in time. As I said, I mean, I managed to pull the airlock. The airlock was almost full by this time, but managed to pull it off and quickly get the blow-off tube inserted. And I mean, everything's fine. I mean, and it's still on there now. I mean, I hesitate to even put the damn airlock on, but I mean, it's moving. It's still it's humming away. I mean, it's probably maybe every 3 seconds, 3 or less even. I mean, it's still just popping off over here. So, I don't know how long to expect it to be that way, but I'm hoping I can get a few more days because I really need to add this maple syrup to it before it stops fermenting. Correct?
Yeah.
Or I mean, before it gets
right
real
toward
slow.
the end is fine. Before it gets too far. So you want to be sure to get that in there. Before it's time to rack to the secondary, but while you've still got some active yeast, it'll kick up again. So you'll have to, kind of like be careful with it. But at the same time, you definitely want to get it in there so you'll get some sugar reduction out of it as well, so you don't taste like just raw maple syrup in there, which is not terribly bad as an ending addition in certain meads here.
Yeah.
So.
Very good. Well, I'm surprised that we don't have any callers, Vicki. I mean, this is usually one of the popular segments on the show. People are lining up here.
Well, you know what it is that they're so in shock that they're not sure what to do. And just to end, Pete, you do intimidate people sometimes. I've gotten a few of the Ask Oscar emails that are like, I'd call in if I had the courage, but here's my question. So yeah. And I keep telling them you're just this guy and you're a lot of fun to drink beer with and, and everything. They don't believe me.
Well, with that picture of Gollum as his icon.
It's not like I'm the Pope or anything.
Tasty precious. Yeah.
It's not like he's the Pope of mead.
Oh, we could have so much fun with that.
Give him a pointy hat and everything.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I'm not the one wearing silk dresses and running around with a little silk hat on either. So,
Oh boy.
Well, I haven't seen you do that, but that doesn't mean you aren't. I don't twice a year, so.
Oh dear.
It can happen.
Although I remember one time when I had a beard, I was out at dinner in Newport Beach, and a couple people came over and asked me for my autograph. And I was like, sure. So I put my, scribbled it like that. And then they get back over the table and I hear Pavarotti.
Pavarotti.
So they thought I was Luciano Pavarotti.
That's great.
Should have broke out in song.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
You should have emailed Pavarotti and let him know that you do stand in for him, as long as he kept you in wine.
Yeah.
Well, Pavarotti.
Got to figure he's got access to some good stuff, you can swap him.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a heck of a night, and last chance for anybody that wants to call in, get a question to ask Oscar. Again, the number, you ought to have it written down or on your speed dial, 818-921.
Store it on your phone.
Yeah, 4680, 818-921-4680. I mean, as long as I'm producing a show, that number is never going to change. So, like Vicki said, just, store it on your phone, put it in your speed dial or whatever. But, I mean, I could fill the night up asking questions, and I really don't want to, but I'd rather have other people call in and get down to business on some of the questions that they might have. So.
Yeah, I think one of the things too, it's like you were talking about, it's funny because it doesn't occur, these kind of things, I'm just kind of like, when somebody asks me a question, it's kind of like off the top of my head. Most of the stuff I know off the top of my head. There's sometimes I have to go back and look at stuff, kind of figure out what the hell it is I'm talking about, because I haven't seen it for a while. I haven't talked about it for a while. But when you send me that email saying, hey, it's taken off. It's starting to bubble real good. And I'm noticing an uptick in the number of bubblings that you're seeing, the frequency of the bubbling. They go, yeah, he's getting ready for it to take off. And I sent that email, said, hey, it's going to take off like a rocket. And sure enough, I've made that thing enough times to know there's like, once the activity starts going in the airlock and it starts picking up, get ready, because it can get out of hand in a hurry.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that the temperature had a lot to do with it. Keeping it under control. Because, like I said, I mean, I did kind of do my research on the yeast. It's a good yeast to ferment at low temperatures. I mean, it goes all the way down to 53 degrees, I mean, that's pretty darn low. I think, but. Apparently it does well at that temperature. So, and of course, as I go along in this whole mead making experience, I mean, I guess the biggest lesson that I've learned is the temperature control. And I was corrected, last time about it not being the most important, but it surely ranks up there. If listeners who are going to listen to this show later or even listening now, I mean, if you're having problems with your mead, I would probably check my temperatures first. Would you agree, Oscar?
Yeah, absolutely. The two things that I notice a lot of the times that really are either impeding progress or taking you way past where you thought you would be in 2 days are temperature. If the temperature is too high, you're going to have an extremely rapid, extremely fast, and extremely short-lived fermentation. You cook your yeast off, and that'll be that. You'll run it down real fast, and it'll be an incomplete ferment. Then you'll have to go through the pains of trying to restart it. And good luck with that, especially on something like a pumpkin, because there's just so much stuff in there. But the other thing, like you said, is pH. pH can play a big role, especially. I saw somebody had posted on one of the mead groups that they couldn't understand why things weren't taking off. Their pH was at 2.8. And I go, well, you can't understand that. Maybe it's time to take.
Hey, what? Go ahead.
What was that?
Because your pH is at 2.8.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's not taking off.
Yeah. Acid much?
Well, okay, now here we're... Explain how that works. What's the relevance in the pH to the ferment then?
Well, the relevance is most yeast don't like pHs below 3.2, 3.3, 3.0. If your ferment starts off and you're sitting at 3.4, and then you see that it starts dropping at 3.3, 3.2, 3.1, but it's still going, and then it goes, 2.9, 2.8 down into that range. But the fermentation is still going. You've probably got a yeast that's going to react okay to the acid. But it's very different than trying to start at 2.8 because, it's very tough for the yeast to get their little, motors are running in that kind of acid environment. So you have to buffer it up till it's more in their little happy zone. And once they get established, they can kind of roll with the punches as the acid level changes up or down. But
what do you do in that case? I mean, what do you add? I mean, right at the beginning, you pitch your yeast. It's not doing anything. The pH is 2.8. What do you do?
First thing I do is I check the pH before I pitch. If it's down at 2.8 and I'm getting ready to pitch, I don't even I don't even rehydrate my yeast until I know what the pH is. Okay. That prevents that problem. Now, if you find out the pH is super low, let's say it is. Let's say it's down at 2.5. Well, get out the potassium bicarbonate and start buffering. Yeah. Bring it up, 3.4, 3.6, 3.8. It likes it in that range, and that's a safe range for yeast to be running around in. And you'll notice that it'll drop back down as it ferments as well. There's certain yeast like D80 that bring more clarity of that acid into the mix when you're fermenting with it, especially in grape wine. It brings that acid out front, where in a lot of other a lot of other yeast, D21 in particular, it doesn't really go out there and showcase the acid as much as it does that nice carbohydrate kind of glyceric roundness.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to bring us to a close for Ask Oscar here tonight and Got Mead Live. We're about at the end of the show here, ladies.
Yep, got a shout out.
You have a shout out?
I do have a shout out. I got a call earlier this week from a gentleman. His name is John Torrio, and he owns, or I think he and his wife actually own, Sant's Honey Company in Easton, Pennsylvania. It's a honey company. It's almost 100 years old, and they bought it from the owners who, well, got old, and there wasn't anybody to take it over. So they're carrying on a family tradition with a new family. And they actually, what I liked about the place was they sell minimally processed honey, and they sell it in bulk at really, I mean, he was quoting me prices, and my jaw hit the floor. I mean, just the good prices. So it's Sant's Honey Company for any of you out there who are looking for bulk honey, especially if you're in the Northeast area and can, get there and the shipping's shorter for you. And it's SANDTS honeycompany.com. They are, and he was really awesome. I mean, he had a lot to say about the honey, and you could hear the passion for what he's doing here. I was really impressed. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him. So,
wow, awesome,
cool.
I want to make mention that most.
Wait, go ahead. Pete's got something.
Go ahead, Pete.
I was going to say I have a shout out too.
Go ahead.
If Kate Upton is out there listening, quit calling me drunk off your acid tree in the morning.
Nice.
Tell her to send text. Drunk text. They're so much more fun.
Want to make mention, state and county fairs season is pretty much over with. So if you submitted your mead to a competition in a state or county fair, make sure you post the results. We'd love to hear about it, and we might even bring you up on the show. So,
totally, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to hear about it. And then a shout out to James Timon. And of course, Vicky and AJ cleared up this mead group thing for me today.
Yeah, he's been going around thinking that all these other mead groups were us. And not that there's anything wrong with they're great mead groups, but they're not got mead groups. That's all,
There's this other mead group out on Facebook that I've been visiting almost religiously, thinking this is, the got mead, type of thing here.
Well, keep in mind, JD, some of those people are got meaders.
Sure.
Yeah, a good number of them, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's mead, and that's all that matters. So,
But I want to throw a shout out to James Timon. He just finished racking a blackberry mead to his demijohn onto some fresh blackberries. But it's not the mead that impresses me. You got to take a look at what this demijohn is sitting in. It's the most fantastic looking demijohn rack I've ever seen, and I want one. So,
so James, if you want to, you could sell one to JD because he's got all this time on his hands, and apparently he's got a lot of money because he's out buying all this cool stuff. So, I'm just saying.
I believe he's in Texas, as I recall. If I'm not mistaken.
How bad could the shipping? How bad can the shipping be to Southern California? I mean, right?
Yeah. Hell, I'll drive down and get the damn thing.
There you go, James. Start building.
The upcoming events here, still talking about the Domrus Cup, a 17th annual mead-only homebrew competition. You can go to homebrewersassociation.org and get all the particulars. Just click on, I believe it's the event tab or whatever it is up there on the top of the menu. Entry fee is $7. Deadline for the entry is January 27th, 2016. Competition date is February 6th, 2016. And you can contact Mike Tripka at Mike_Tripka, that's TRIPKA, at yahoo.com for more information about that competition. Also, if you read Winemaker Magazine, Winemaker International Amateur Wine Competition is also coming. Entries must be submitted by March 11th, 2016. You can get more information at winemaking.com in the competition menu.
And Vicki, our next guest next week is Byron DeGraw from 810 Meadworks.
Yeah, for those of you out there that are looking to listen, starting next week and for the next 6 episodes, we will be talking to meaderies in process, to people who are starting a meadery but aren't open yet. So if you've ever thought you might want to do this, these are the people that are going through it right now. They're going to have so much great information to share. And it's just going to be really interesting to find out what their journey's been like, the things that they've learned. So, again, if you're thinking about starting a meadery or you were just idly curious about what went into it, these are the folks you want to listen to. We've talked to a lot of experienced professional mead makers, but these guys are people just like you. They're home mead makers, and they've decided to make the jump. So it's a fascinating thing. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to do it for us here tonight on a Tuesday night. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back here again next Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. Thanks to Pete, Ask Oscar, for joining us live here tonight. Make sure you tune in next week for more Ask Oscar. So with that, say goodnight, Vicki.
Good night, Vicki.
Say goodnight, AJ.
Good night, AJ.
Say goodnight, Pete. Pete's asleep.
Yeah, in Croatian does it. You forgot your name.
All right. We'll see everybody next week.
Night, y'all.